Good for him. Be safe. I'll see you, brother. You too. Listen close. We're going to be nice.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content. And the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
We'll talk Big 12 realignment. We'll talk Tokyo Olympics. And a whole lot more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
So weather.
That'll pull them in.
We'll talk for an hour.
Self-deprecating. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you. That teaser intro.
That billboard's going to do it, isn't it?
That's going to pull them in.
Yeah, that's going to really pull them in.
Is that what you call that, a billboard?
Yeah, I think so.
You just give them a little billboard. Yeah.
Let's do this.
The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. It's 70, what you just showed me, 79 in Victoria, heading to a high today of 93. So, you get this little 14-degree spread. I mean, it's kind of hot all day.
And heat index could get about 110. So it'll be, it's going to be a little
much like COVID. If you're old, fat, or have other medical, maladies, try to stay inside.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea to be out today. Hey, look, you see our roof over there that always holds water? Did they totally redo it?
It looks like it, or the whole thing's holding
water. Or is the whole thing holding water? Is it a lake?
I don't know.
If they sold Viagra in that building, would you call it Lake Flaccid?
Maybe so.
I don't know. I think that whole roof's covered in water.
I think you might be right, although I don't know how because it hadn't rained in a few
hours.
Days, whatever.
I don't know what we got going here. I'm trying to fix some of your issues or causing
my
us
issues.
Yeah.
Looks like my daughter Tyler's in this morning.
Folks, don't forget, Deerland Feed's open on Saturday. Yeah. You can whip by and check out what's going on. Hey, good morning, Graydon.
Scott Tomko, Diane Tippett's in, Richard King, good morning. Good Friday to you. Bobby Leister's in. The Leisterometer holding steady at 1,004. Patrick Strauss. I wonder if we're still big in Louisville. I don't know.
Is he still there? Was he going to move?
No, I think his daughter's going to school there.
Oh, that's right.
Rob Moore Knipling, Chris Conrad, good morning. David Glass is in. BJ Nelson checking in. She made it back to Victoria in time to leave for the weekend.
She's going to come in next week, I believe, and bring the Keep Victoria Beautiful president. I don't know who that is. Is it her?
Well, we'll be introduced
find out
next week. Yeah. Chris
wait.
Ray Brissett, good morning. My daughter's trying to wake my grandson.
Why would you do that, man? What logic
Let
is
him
that?
sleep. Jennifer Rayburn, good morning. Janelle Sarles. Patrick Strauss says he's back home. Glad you made it home safely, Patrick.
Good morning, Judge. Judge Posey.
Good morning, everybody. So there was a meme going around yesterday, and I struggled. Tried to find it, and I probably should have used some alternate search engines. And I know Stephen Kidder's watching, and he posted it on our wall yesterday. And if it's legit, and I will try to find that out over the weekend.
Good morning, Sheriff Louderback.
Tyler says she has no choice to wake him up. She's got to open up the bank this morning. Well, there you go.
There you go. Can't you just declare it a bank holiday?
I guess.
Sleeping like a baby bank holiday. Where is it? I saw it. I commented. You made a comment yesterday on it. The Wade and Carter page has a lot of stuff on it.
Maybe it's a photo. That's probably where it is.
No, it's not a photo we took. So you have to go back and make it under posts.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe if I just go through here.
Astros play tonight. Astros off last night. There
it is.
Play tonight. Is that the dialogue that we were having?
Yeah, I think so. Because I'll take these off to see.
really
Get those
concerned
tests.
about our president. Really, really concerned. What did he say?
And this looks like it's a transcribing of the transcript of what he said at the CNN town hall. So he was asked in the town hall about children under 12 being eligible to receive one of the COVID-19 vaccines.
Yeah, when
right?
will children 12 and under be eligible to be vaccinated?
And I'm not doing this to make fun.
You need to listen to this, folks.
I'm doing this to point out that we've got a serious cognitive dementia issue in the White House. And this is the leader of not only the United States, but in many cases, the free world. Graydon's now awake and he's holding the phone watching me. So,
hi, Graydon.
Good morning, Graydon. Marvin Makers in. But this was the response. Remember, the question was whether or not kids under 12 should get the vaccine. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are. Why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be? Or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
What does that, first of all, it's not even a coherent thought.
Not at all.
And second of all, it in no way addresses the question of when will children under the age of 12 be eligible for the vaccine.
It doesn't answer a question of anything that might have been asked of him yesterday.
And so if you're a Democrat, if you're a Biden supporter, would you call us 575-9509? Just tell me what your thoughts are. Are you concerned about, I'm not being flippant here. Are you concerned about this particular president? Would you rather see Kamala Harris installed as the president? It's got nothing to do with like Trump. I don't care. Forget that.
No.
We're trying to figure out where you feel the state of the mental capacity of the office of the president resides today.
Scott Tomko says he saw that part of the town hall on Fox News. It went just like that. He was stammering on multiple other items.
I believe the man's either had a stroke, and I'm telling you, when they put him under to do his facelift, because he's had work done, that's fine. I mean, he's trying to appear more youthful, as president, and good for him. That's certainly his right. But the idea that when they gave him the anesthetic at his advanced age, he has not rallied. It's like he had a mini stroke or something. And it's a concern to me. I mean, the jokes are there that, he was never capable of running the country to begin with. How could he do any worse? None of that is happening here.
No.
We're asking you to give us input, especially if you're a supporter. If you believe that this, if they're going the right direction, give us a call, 575-9509, and just tell us how you think he's going to rally and what's going to happen.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. And the quest for power and the thirst for power is so I'm struggling with the word to come up with it. There is so much hunger for power. Now that they have it, they will hold on to it at any cost, and take any measure to do it.
Yes.
But and Joe Biden's complicit in this. The first lady, she is so enamored with her position as first lady and trying to be Melania 2.0.
Oh yeah, she's propping him up every morning.
Any other family would sit there and go, Joe, I think it's time you went into a home. If this was in any other situation, we got some issues, doctors would be stepping in, a whole bunch of people would be stepping in and saying, you're probably at a point where you can't really take care of yourself anymore.
I sincerely believe, and Ash thinks I'm a conspiracy guy, but I believe there are powers at work behind the scenes. I believe that this entire administration is a charade. I
don't believe Biden's the one calling the shots here. There's others doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know who they are.
I totally believe that. I wouldn't be surprised to see It would not surprise me if I found out at some point that someone attempted a coup and that they tried to take over the government from Joe Biden. Like, no kidding.
Well, General Milley was worried about that, right? That was going to be Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, that's the deal. And we've said for years here that everything that the Democrats accuse Trump of doing are the things they in fact are doing. And it is interesting, when you look at Nancy Pelosi trying to rig the Inquisition panel, and I mean, it's like, no, I get to pick. So, okay, Republicans, you put up your 5. Oh, no, I don't like 40% of them. 2 of your 5 have to go. So at that point, if she picks 2 of the Republicans' 5, all she needs is just 1 of the other 3 to turn, and she's completely poisoned the entire panel.
Well, I credit Kevin McCarthy for pulling all 5 and just saying,
we're not going to your own. Yeah. I remember Ted Cruz going on a rant and just screaming at the Democrats, I pray that you never get the power that you crave at no price is too great.
And they're there.
They're there.
Chris Conrad says George Soros, which leads me to believe that the Clintons are still very much have a hand in this.
Yeah, and Obama.
And Obama, absolutely. That's who's
good morning, Commissioner Ives.
With the squad being the squeaky wheel and getting a lot of concessions on environmental concerns, which once again,
the environmental concerns, folks. If you really believe that the Democrats give a hooey about environmental concerns at the national level, you're an idiot.
No, it's all about them being able to make some money off of environmental concerns, and then
all about governmental control. Yeah. That's what it's about. We're going to tell you that you're going to drive an electric car. Well, it'll only go 200 miles. Well, you don't need to go any further. You don't even have papers. You need to stay home and work for the government. We sent you those stimulus checks. You owe us.
Tom Price, good morning. Chris Conrad. CVAG is in. Clint Ives.
Hey, CVAG.
Richard King, good morning.
Missed him.
Chris Ray Brissett says she agrees with you.
That's sure right. Chris is still asleep.
Chris is still asleep.
Yeah.
J. Mark Jameson, good morning. Terry Murray, good morning. Jeff Fonseca says, turn your headlights on, people. There's fog out there.
All right, Terry Murray checking in. Great time to tell you about Motto Mortgage, 541-5454. Call Terry. She's up. She's up monitoring interest rates. Give her a call. I like the concept a lot. You call her, you give her the basics. What do you owe? What's your interest rate? What's your payment? She'll manipulate the interest rate and bring you back a lower payment. Pretty easy, especially if your credit's good.
She gets there early. She works late.
There you go.
All on your behalf. So give Terry a call at Motto Mortgage, 541-5454.
She has a little dainty bowl of mints on her desk. Go see her. She's right there down the strip center from
Jason's Deli.
From Jason's Deli. Go see Terry Murray at Motto Mortgage.
Went Services for all your electrical needs. They added plumbing into the stable of services they provide in recent years.
And emergency plumbing.
So when you can't find that plumber on a Sunday morning when the toilet's leaking, give one a call.
There you go.
Plus, they've got all your backup generator needs, and they can handle pretty much anything that runs in your house.
Cummins, Kohler, Generac,
and
Briggs and Stratton. Yeah, everything from. They can explain to you the difference between a 22 kW and a 24 kW, and why did that extra 2 kW cost so much? Because one's air cooled and one's water cooled.
There you go.
It goes on and on and on. Efficiency and long-term cost and ease of operation. Reach out to Went with all your questions. One thing about the sponsors we have here, they will give you advice. They're not in the bill you for common sense department.
No, and they'll help you make a decision that's best for you.
Yep. USA Concrete Coatings, 578-HOME. Call Charlie Garcia today. Get a quote. He'll come out. You clean out your garage. He'll clean it, seal the cracks, and put the USA Coatings floor of your dreams down on your garage floor. It would totally spur the rejuvenation of your home. it would make you go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and paint that other bedroom this weekend. I'm going to get that carpet out. I'm going to put that coating down in here in my wife's craft room. It's a forever deal. You'll be glad you did it. Reach out to them. And, of course, Cheryl at the Great Barn, 920-6803.
Give Cheryl a call.
Graydon's grandmother will
You
help
would do it for Graydon.
Yeah, do it for Graydon. It's Graydon's college fund. 920-6803. Cheryl, make your next party memorable.
For the right reasons.
So I drove through the bank drive-through the other day. What's it called? Community Bank? Community Bank.
No, Crossroads Bank.
Crossroads Bank. Crossroads Bank. There's so many
Bank.
folks. I'm sorry, there's too many banks in Victoria. Crossroads Bank, which is right there in the
Got my C's mixed up.
Ben Galvan's building there, the Civil Corps building and Airline and Stockbauer. And your lovely daughter was there. And, she reminds me of Kendall. They kind of favor each other. And she just looked very professional and grown up and all that stuff.
Someone's asking if Dawn has a craft room.
Dawn has a craft room. So a craft room being a place where you do the things you want and manipulate things for your pleasure. Yeah, well, that's our bedroom. Yeah, that's her craft. She just beats me up.
It's her MMA room.
Yeah, I just get kicked around.
So Gomez, good morning. I saw Christina Wise checking in, Jeff Coleman checking in from Arkansas. We're huge in Arkansas this morning.
I mean, you tell me, if you walked into your bedroom and your wife had installed turnbuckles in the corners, would you be nervous? There's ropes. Like, I'm on the ropes.
Not sure if I'd be nervous or maybe
Aroused.
a little bit aroused.
That's sweet. On a Friday, Freeform Friday, if you want to call us about anything, if you just want
Relive
to
my
call,
wrestling moment.
if you, Cheryl's got it in the suplex. Oh, he didn't land well.
Snapped his neck.
If you want, it's like what spider is that eats her
praying mantis?
Eats her mate or whatever. That's nice.
Michelle Torres, good morning. Checking
Jeffrey.
in from Deerland Feed.
Jennifer Dahmer as a lover.
Matt Boucher's in.
If you want to call, if you want to call and tell us how cool we are, 575-9509. If you want to call and tell Ash how much you appreciate him, you got a fist bump from a gentleman yesterday.
I did, yeah, Alvin. I met him on an elevator yesterday, and he looked at me. He goes, "Are you one of those Wade and Carter guys?" And I said, "I am." And he gave me the fist bump, and I asked him if he listens, and his wife is like, "Every day."
She's like, mad every morning.
Every morning. I can't get him to do nothing until he watches you guys.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Yeah, I like you, that other guy. I don't know about that
That's
other
pretty
guy."
much how it went.
Yeah, I understand. I do. I understand. There's
Junior Samples, good morning.
Hey to you, Junior.
So, a lot more on the Big 12 and the potential contraction of the Big 12, expansion of the SEC, going to 16 teams if Texas and OU depart the Big 12. A lot of money involved. $76 million each by Texas and OU would have to be paid to the Big 12 as an exit fee, and this is something they all agreed to a few years ago.
Texas is going to loan that money to OU.
They'd have to, I think.
I think that was the lesser, like
each school in that league last year got $38 million from TV revenue, and when you think about that, Texas's Tier 1 rights are owned by the Longhorn Network, and this is all like Tier 2 and other, we don't have to get into that, but it's right. Basically
volleyball
and other media rights. But $38 million to every school in the conference
is a big deal to TCU. It's a big deal to Iowa State, who sells 10,000 tickets.
Now think about where we are with the Longhorn Network and that. I mean, that's Texas getting back $38 million.
Yeah.
So,
but it was probably instituted by the lesser schools or the smaller schools. No negativity intended. The smaller schools to protect them against exactly what's going on here. I mean, TCU isn't going anywhere because they can't pony up $76 million. But they're saying, hey, Texas, if you leave, I mean, we're all expanding our stadiums, for example, to hold the crowds that Texas and OU bring to town. So we're not going to do that and then have you go off and leave us. You're going to have to pay us if you choose to leave. And I think that's fair.
Well, they need 11 of the 14 existing SEC teams to approve them as new members of the conference. And word is Texas A&M is already a solid
said no, because the Aggies, bless their hearts, there's no advantage to them at all by having Texas come into the SEC. Now, there is an advantage.
No, because if you
Texas.
think about it, they replaced the Texas A&M game with Alabama, and it draws just as many people.
Sure.
And the revenues that generates offset what the Texas A&M game used to do, right?
And they can go around, as they have, touting themselves as the best football team. Oh, we finished number 4 in the country. We're the best football team in Texas. And now Texas says, okay, well, we're weak and we play in a cruddy conference. How about we come over there and tee it up with you every year? No, don't do that. Don't do that. I did have a way. I did kind of shut down an Aggie conversation the other day. Oh, there you go. Dawn says they don't want the truth to be shown by playing us again. There you go. True statement. I'll tell you though that I made the comment.
I'm not sure Jimbo Fisher wouldn't.
Jimbo's not afraid. This is all about money,
and
it generates huge money. Can you imagine the primetime game, the reigniting of the rivalry between Texas and A&M, and a new timeline begins as they become conference mates? It would be awesome. There's a couple quick things. The NCAA at the elite level of football, SEC, Big Ten, Pac-10, or Pac-12, whatever it is, those schools soon will all be 4 major 16-team conferences. Maybe five, but at least 64. And that gives you basically a living, breathing, round-robin tournament. You got 64 teams. You cut it to 32 for the bowls. You play the first round. That drops you to 16 winners, and then you've got 4 playoff games. Blah blah blah. That's where it's all headed. But if they don't take Texas and OU into the SEC, and Texas and OU say, "Well, fine, SEC, you've had through A&M an open conduit to recruit our great Texas football players. How about we just go team up Texas, OU, Ohio State, Michigan."
Yeah, this was an interesting
Michigan
conversation
State,
you and I had last
Wisconsin,
night on this.
Penn State. And we open up the Midwest to the Texas and OU pipeline down here. Now you've got Michigan saying, come home to the blue and maize. Help us bring back the brand. And Texas kids are like, well, wait a minute. I get to play in Norman and in Austin. My folks can still see me, and I'm going to Michigan.
And I get a chance to beat the Ohio State University every year.
Right.
Sorry, Jimmy Simpson.
That is something that the SEC cannot allow to happen.
That would probably turn the SEC's position, if they were against this, 180 degrees and be all for it, because they would see that. And
don't let me hurt anybody's feelings, but the truth is still the truth, whether it hurts your feelings or not. A&M, with the exception of Vanderbilt, A&M is probably the elite education institution in the SEC. The rest are kind of fog of mirror. Come on in. And I'm telling you, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, come on in, man. Let's go to college.
Pete McNally says, credit conference, Baylor just won the basketball championship. But, there's one-offs, Pete. But as a whole, you could argue that of the 5 Power 5 conferences, the Big 12 is currently sitting about 5th.
And football is king, period. So here's the deal. If you let Texas and OU hook up with Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, these are elite, old, Big Ten, big-time research institutions. The academic side is far greater in the Big Ten.
And many athletic programs that are only a generation away from being very relevant on the national scene. We're not talking programs like,
UCLA basketball,
Brown University, or, schools that haven't done anything.
Yeah. Michigan's more like Texas, Michigan State has a very similar athletic program to Texas as far as success goes.
Chris Conrad says Texas can't beat any of those teams. Right now, yeah, you're probably right.
Chris, I don't know about that. I mean, college football is a fluky deal. I mean, last year to me, Jim Simpson says Ohio State is loaded with Texas talent. I agree 100%, Jimmy, but that's because they transcend conference. They're just a national power. Yeah. Michigan has lacked that pipeline. I believe that the SEC is going to look around and go, look, man, the two prettiest girls at the dance that don't have dates are named Texas and OU, and we better get them over here at our table.
Patrick Strauss says greedy UT cost them the rivalry. I don't blame A&M. That's coming from an A&M perspective.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
I sit here a little more objectively on this. If A&M could have started the A&M network, they would have done it. Absolutely.
And you know that's true because when they had the chance to go to the SEC, they took it. And when Texas was looking at when A&M started talking about going to the SEC, Texas was talking with the folks at Stanford and on the West Coast about going to the Pac-12, and they made the vow, we won't go without the Aggies. We won't come without the Aggies. But the Aggies had a chance to get out of Big Brother's shadow, and they took it. And it's never that simple, but that is a statement of truth. And it's worked well for them. Make no mistake, John Sharp, they have raised money. They built a $600 million stadium that they hang fake titles on the wall of, and they convince themselves that they matter nationally, and they just don't. I believe that last year was the high water mark in A&M football since 1939. I just do. They've done great things.
Here's where the big or Texas and OU, if they decided to say, we're going to go to the Big Ten. First, you'd have two Big 12s, maybe. I don't know. What do you call it then? The big. Well, no, they're already at like 13 schools, so it makes no sense. But automatically, you restore the Nebraska-OU rivalry.
Right.
Right.
Nebraska sucks, though. You talk about a school.
No, but there's a story. There's a long-standing tradition and rivalry there that disappeared when Nebraska went to the Big Ten and changed things up. But the Texas OU game remains. But as you mentioned, you have games that, and here's the way I look at it: Texas raises Michigan back into prominence because that's a game that would bring a lot of people to TV to watch it.
No doubt.
Texas, Wisconsin, big game. Texas, Penn State, big game.
There's no conference in the country that wouldn't say, Texas, yeah, we'll take them. But come on. T-Lad says that everybody forgets the last time we played them. Yes, Justin Tucker, field goal, Texas beats them. H.R. Mallory says, except when Texas said they were going to the SEC, the Big 12 said bye. Well, they were perennially fourth in the Big 12. I mean, they didn't really matter. They didn't. They lost.
But how is the conference gonna? How could the conference as a whole go? Okay, we're gonna give you more money to stay, but everybody else gets the same piece of pie.
Yeah,
wasn't gonna happen. I mean, A&M when they had made their case, they were going. It wasn't a case of, well, come on back and give us a counteroffer, Big 12, and we'll stick around.
HR says, hey, the Big 12 bowed down to Texas when they said they were going to the Pac-12, and again. That gives me no academic pride. I mean, Texas was a bully, and Texas just brings too many TVs and too much money. I mean, if you ask people to name.
And they didn't want to split the revenue. I mean, but I mean, okay, you're a business. You've got an opportunity to do this and grow your bottom line and line your pocketbooks, or you can go and join here and you've got to split all that revenue with 12 other people. Which one are you going to do? If you take the emotion out of it and look at it logically, which business decision makes sense? Gee, we can have our own Longhorn network and make a ton of money for our school,
right? Or
we can join the Big 12 and leave all that money on the table and take a lesser share.
But see, I like this. So Patrick Strauss is a great friend, and he says UT fans love living in the past. I don't disagree with that because right now that's all we've got. But see, Aggies don't have that. And so it's odd to me that Aggies point out that UT fans live in the past when the Aggies have no past. I mean,
the only schools right now.
Iowa State doesn't say that to me. Iowa State's better than A&M, and they don't say that to me.
The only school, you don't know any Iowa State.
I don't know any. Are there any?
A few. We silenced them at the Alamo Bowl a few years ago with Washington State. But anyway, I digress.
Yep.
The only schools in recent memory that have any living in the future, in the present, and haven't been living in the past when it comes to college football, Clemson and Alabama. That's it. LSU here and there. Everybody else has been living in the past because they haven't been winning and they haven't been relevant.
Patrick John Welter has the right attitude. Morning, gentlemen. Bring the Longhorns to the SEC. We get the rivalry back, and we get 2 shots at knocking Bama out. I love that. Dawn says, hey, she says it's true. You know, my brother-in-law played in that last game against the Aggies after coming back from a huge knee recovery. She said it's more than UT fans living in the past. Oh, now, Patrick, that's the dumbest thing any Aggies ever said. Aggies don't need it. There's a lot more to life than
The
sports.
Big 12
Not in
and the
College
SEC
Station, there's not.
And the Big 12 and the SEC don't exist if there's no college
If there's
sports.
no sports, the Big 12. Yeah, there is no Big 12. You're not in a conference except for sports.
Exactly.
No.
Richard King says they're like the Cowboys that love the past.
Well, that's a true story. The other day I read a deal on Twitter. It was from the Dallas Cowboys, and it said something along the lines of, are you ready for this? And it was a picture of Dak and a picture of Ezekiel Elliott. It implied it was today. He was wearing a red jersey, Dak was, and I put underneath, who cares? Just play defense. I go, 1995 was a long time ago.
Who's their new defensive coordinator? Dan Quinn, is that his name?
I don't know. Dat win? I don't know. I would take that win. Folks, real quick, Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen is your go-to tow-to. I talked to Allen yesterday. They have been swamped, no pun intended. I mean, pulling people out of ditches, pulling people out of fields. They are
delivering shipping containers to Houston after they right the truck.
Crazy. Reach out to Allen's Wrecker Service for all your towing needs, 578-6300. The VCS companies, that's our banner sponsor.
They're my cup sponsor.
There you go. They make their living in the service business like so many of our sponsors. I encourage you to reach out to them for everything that, they're doing stuff right now like body cameras for our law enforcement. They do a lot of the
the refitting of vehicles to turn them into police cars.
Absolutely.
And provide all the lights and accoutrement on those.
Absolutely. Reach out to very well played.
Thank you.
Constant word of the show, accoutrement. Reach out to the VCS companies for all your communication needs, all the way down to and including the iPhone 12 Pro Max that you can get at the only locally owned and authorized AT&T store. How do you stop Brady from? Yeah, great story.
Meyer.
How do you stop Tom Brady from winning another Super Bowl? Just trade him to the Dallas Cowboys. Chesnick Furniture, 101
good thing
years.
I didn't have a mouthful of coffee at that moment.
70 years at their current location. And Bobby Leon and his family will help you and yours enjoy better furniture. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. And you just do better at Chesnick. And today's your last day of the week to get to Veracruz. Lee and I are there. The food is fabulous and fresh. It's funny because we eat there so often that I can honestly tell you when Lee is in the kitchen. There are days where Lee actually is the guy that has to build your plate. And it has a look to it. It's like you're eating at his house, which I do often. I eat at their home, and
might not be plated as.
Is
that what you're saying?
No, it
plated
looks
more like you would plate it.
No, it's plated
better,
more professionally.
Okay.
It's just beautiful. It's the placement of things and the time that's taken is awesome. So I'll give you an example of something that kind of blew my mind. I got it financially when the Aggies decided to go to the SEC. In fact, I was a little bit envious. I was like, at the time, UT, I think arrogantly and somewhat ignorantly was talking about academics and the reality that A&M really does raise the academic level of the SEC a lot. It's a fine education institution. And Texas was like, we don't want to go there. Those are a bunch of dumb schools. And I was like, the whole conference thing's about football. It's not like UT is going to get dumb by going to the SEC. But it was, that's not really our brand of ball. We don't want to be affiliated with them, blah, blah, blah. But I never understood how just instantly, Aggies fans became SEC, SEC, all right? They became like part of the cult. Like, it's one thing if you go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and you go to somebody's house and they've got a whole wall full of Alabama gear, but all of a sudden the Aggies across the board were like, yeah, I mean, the SEC's got great teams like us and Alabama. I mean, it's us and Alabama against the world. So I started thinking about other dynasties and how they respond to things. And I asked Ash, first of all, how many of you can even name any team in the AFC East? The only one you would get if you followed football fairly closely is you would say, well, the New England Patriots.
No, I think if you're a casual fan, you say the Patriots.
Patriots.
If you're somewhat of an more ardent observer,
then maybe you
know
get
the
Buffalo.
Bills,
Yeah,
and the Jets and the Dolphins.
Okay, so my question is,
and some would even harken back to a time when the Colts were in that division.
Do the Dolphins fans and the Jets fans, who, in historical perspective, have had similar successes to the fighting Texas Aggies, do Dolphins and Jets fans, 1969, Joe Namath won that one Super Bowl. The Jets have sucked ever since. 1939, the Aggies won that deal. Do Jets and Dolphins fans sit in the stands while the Patriots are kicking their butts and go, AFC East, AFC East? That's my question.
I think those days have sort of ended when the AFL and the NFL merged. And there was still some allegiance to the conferences that way. But no, those days are gone.
I don't get
conference affiliation and that love for the conference is really a college football and Division I phenomenon.
I agree.
Matt Boucher says Aggies and Horns need to play again and let the football do the talking. Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely. That's and I think that might be where we end up heading with this.
I think that could be what happens.
Because to be honest, with all the money that it's going to take to align these conferences,
just money.
And it probably but here's what will happen. You know darn well the state of Texas and the legislature will get involved. Oklahoma's legislature is already threatening to get involved. This thing will not solve itself in a couple of weeks. And with Texas not having a legislative session for another 2 years, unless the governor would call a special session for this, which would probably put a nail in his coffin.
I'm going to go the other direction because he's running for re-election and Texas is bigger than Abbott. I believe this thing does happen. I think it happens maybe as soon as over this weekend. Peter McNally says, some say it ain't going to happen. OU and Texas stay in the Big 12. I would be pleased to see Texas and A&M play every year. But I'll tell you, as a football fan, that's me selfishly. If I put on my Aggies hat, I don't see the reason to play the game. And if I put on my Texas hat, I see it being fraught with danger. I mean, you're walking into a time, I'm being humble and honest. You're walking into a time when the Aggies are really good. They're battle hardened from the SEC. They're a tough program. And if you play them and you go out there and you get the Aggies irritated with you and they have something to prove, I just haven't seen a mean streak out of UT in a long time. And I think they're soft. I think the Longhorns are soft, and I think the Aggies might just clean their clocks. But I do think this deal happens, and I do think that does take away the key recruiting advantage that the Aggies have. You want to play in the best conference in football? You want to still have your parents able to come see you right here in Texas? Come to Texas A&M. No, or you could go to Austin. By the way, I had a report.
But has it really hurt recruiting? Because every year Texas seems to have a top 5 at least or top 10 recruiting class, and there's the problem.
They don't have a top 5 coaching class most of the time. That's the problem.
So I mean, I don't know that A&M leaving the SEC has hurt Texas's recruiting. If you listen to the quote experts,
right? No. Ash does love.
Yeah, he took things out of context. But anyway.
Yeah. But if you ask people around the country, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, and I don't think that it's arrogant. I think it's an observation of fact. if you ask people around the country, name the teams in the Big 12, they're going to say Texas, OU, of course. Well, I guess Oklahoma State. But Baylor, I think, Baylor won that basketball championship. They don't get to Kansas State, Iowa State. They don't get down to Iowa State. It's the same thing. I mean, the SEC is so tough, so loaded with great football players. Well, they are. They got Alabama. And then every year, one of these teams, Georgia, Auburn, Florida, and more typically LSU, one of those 5 teams is really good.
Pac-12. Just doesn't quite roll from
the rest,
State perspective.
The rest, then you can take the whole Big 12 and put them right in there with the Aggies. So you go Alabama, and then in this horizontal line, Georgia, Florida, who hasn't done much, Auburn, LSU. And then you put the Aggies, and then you put the whole Big 12, but OU all of a sudden jumps up to second. And Texas and the Aggies kind of linger right there together fighting.
At this point, I would say maybe Texas A&M and then Texas.
Yeah, I agree.
1A, 1B.
I agree. Well, no, more like 4A and 4B, clamoring for 4th, 5th place. And then underneath that, when I name these juggernauts like South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Tennessee's a sleeping giant, but they've underwhelmed since T. Martin left. Keep going. I mean, Mississippi,
Mississippi State,
Ole Miss. I mean,
that's
Arkansas sucks. Arkansas has never won anything but track since they went over there 25 years ago. Missouri. You know how quick the Big 12 said bye, Missouri? I mean, nobody cared. Everybody's like, SEC, you're taking those clowns? But you don't hear the Missouri fans going, SEC, we're like Alabama. They know their place.
And, it's interesting. To me, anyway, the only other conference that really, the Pac-12 tries to brand themselves conference champions thanks to UCLA's dominance of that conference.
And so great academic. You got Stanford out there. It's like Duke on steroids.
But the only conference that these sorts of conversations ever revolve or happen is the ACC in basketball.
Right.
That's the parallel.
Yeah. Yeah, which, was built as a basketball.
Yeah, it was a basketball conference. Absolutely.
Like with Maryland.
Kind of like the Big East was.
Although Maryland does come down and beat up on Texas in football. My Aggie friends always point that out. Maryland beat y'all twice. I go, yeah, but your record against us is 75, 37, and 5. 75, 37, and 5. But since World War II, we're even
56, 25, and 3.
Yeah. And during that period, since World War II, and I'm like, yeah, but during that period, since World War II, we won 4 championships and had more top 5 finishes since 2000 than you've had all time.
It's much like Washington State against Washington. They've only won like 80% of the games or something like that, 75% of them or something.
Can you imagine Washington State? But we beat you in 87.
We only beat you when it's snowing in Pullman.
Oh. Hey, real quick, and then I can't believe that somebody's not calling to champion something. I mean, Adam Sugar could call and tell us about Silas on a Friday. The lack of engagement you people are exhibiting this week is
there's
disheartening.
Lots of engagement.
Well, there's lots of chirping, but just a nice good morning, Mother.
Adam Sugar says he'll take Columbia, Missouri over Austin, Texas. A true story.
That's not bad.
Columbia is a nice city.
I had somebody, Mike Pena, MP61 trainer and friend, told me that he went to Austin this last week. And I mean, he likes Austin. He said, Brent, you just can't believe we were downtown. He said, you could see the edge of the lake over there, by First Street. And he said, dude, there's just tents and garbage. And he goes, really, it looked like Woodstock. I'm like, folks, that's unacceptable. Do not tell me about your homeless population. Get those people out of that city. That's ridiculous. Bunch of zombies walking around on acid. I don't know what to do with that. I would take those people out to Marfa and go, here, smoke your weed and look at the lights.
Look at lights. And
I mean, does that not trouble you people that our state's capital is literally overrun with underachieving folks. These are not disenfranchised people. These are not people that are down on their luck and they ain't got a buck. They need to go, people. They need to vacate Austin, Texas. But all those leftist turds up there, those liberal idiots who flew in from California, oh man, we've got to do something to help these people.
When you leave California and you bring your politics and your problems to Austin, Texas,
right?
You've just imported California.
There's Dana Moore de la Garza. Good morning.
Patrick Strauss says, love the way Brent changes his voice when he's talking about what his Aggie friends to tell him. Like they're a bunch of hicks. No, it's just to differentiate their take on it.
Now, Patrick, I'm going to talk to you like your daddy did. Now, you know better than that. Now, come on now. You know I'm playing, Patrick. I love the rivalry. I mean, I put 3 kids through A&M. Yeah. I've spent more money in College Station than all y'all. Don't kid yourselves. But at the end of the day, on everything that matters, A&M is, except agriculture. Thank you, Matt Boucher. It's little brother. I mean, it just is what it is. Deal with it, you know? I mean, hey, Cowboys and Texans, you make the call. Cowboys and Texans. Cowboys. Yankees and Astros. Sorry, I love the Astros. I'm an Astro. Yankees. It's just the way it is. Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter. You make the call. They were both president. They both led the free world. Ronald Reagan. We are Texas. Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com. Atzenhofer since 1926.
Since 1926.
Victoria's dealership. They are Chevy. Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, all pre-owned, gently pre-owned vehicles, paint and body shop. They do service on all makes and models, and they'll inspect your vehicle. I'm going to get my vehicle inspected today.
I think you forgot Chevrolet in that list.
Chevrolet.
There we go. They're there as well.
They're it. Everybody knows that. I mean, people still say, I got to go to Atzenhofer Chevrolet. Why? Buy a Cadillac. Okay. White Trash Services, BJ Nelson, Sick'em Bears, 550-1826. I'd like to
sick her on your trash.
I'd like to see the old Southwest Commerce put back together. Get SMU in there, get U of H in there, bring and keep OU and Oklahoma State. It'd be fun. It would be great.
I kind of agree with you.
Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull. By the way, if you're going to have a huge project and you need a site scraped, you got to get rid of an old building, White Trash Site Services can work right here in the city. VISD, hey, note to self, let's get rid of Mitchell School. Clean that lot off. Get White Trash out there, half a dozen roll-offs. They'd load it up and haul it off. Be gone in a day and a half.
Adam Sugar says a Texas conference. It'd be interesting in concept. I think it's great. The problem is you have schools in Texas that just don't have the clout and bring what the Big 12 or the SEC brings.
Oh, goodness. Adam Sugar's coaching junior high football this year.
Good for you.
Good for you.
I think he'd be a good coach.
HR
Silas is going to be their starting defensive tackle.
I said something to make HR laugh because he's a great Aggie and a great friend. Folks, keep HR and his family in your thoughts and prayers.
Are those laughy faces, or is he flipping you the bird?
Could be flipping you the bird. Is that what that is? He's in Del Rio right now working as a trooper. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull is absolutely one of my favorite Aggies and a great guy, smart businessman. Probably could have gone to Texas. Kidding. I keyed. JP and his team will help you with your analytics. They'll help you collect money on the internet.
They'll help you understand all the things that you don't understand.
A portion of all proceeds paid directly to Aggie Athletics. Reach out to them at Razor IT Solutions. And, of course, the law offices of Steve Kidder. He will represent you no matter what your favorite football team is. Steve Kidder is an unbiased and objective observer of life. He will help you navigate.
The law does not have any conference or school allegiance.
Or many times any justice. So you need Steve Kidder to help you with that. And complete. Today's a great day. It's never too late to start doing right. Go by today and have a smoothie, have a waffle here at the Health Bar on Red River, or you can go up north and pick up a whole bunch of supplements. They have like some swag, some clothes.
Plus, you can step on like their scale and help monitor your progress as you lose weight and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Try to get in better shape.
What did he say? What did he say?
HR says, Brent, the only thing better than creating new Aggies is having a Longhorn page.
That's absolutely. Yep. Richard King says, Brent, you're a smart guy. You surround yourself with Aggies. Yeah. I've been extremely pleased with the education my kids have gotten in College Station. I think, and I'll tell you what I've observed on the academic side. Texas A&M is extremely good to their own. They are extremely adept at Aggies helping Aggies when it comes time to get a job.
I would argue that there's probably not a better school in the country.
I would too,
at doing that.
I would too. And Dawn just says we do supplements from Complete, and they really help. They do help. I can absolutely feel the difference when I take the supplements from there.
Morning, Simpy.
But on a really, and I don't know, and I'm not being humble. I'm being honest. I don't know if Texas is just too big, if there's too much liberal politics involved. But in College Station, my kids have actually gone to the counselor and sat down and said, I need some help with my degree path. And a dean has been brought in to visit. Well, if you'll do this, this, and this. Now, I know for a fact that I'm teaching this class this summer, and I'll take you into that class. And literally, coddled is not the right word. They're still very responsible. Mentored my kids to get them through. I've been very, very pleased. And when I go to College Station now, the only issue I have with College Station now is that the traffic there is worse than it is in Austin. And Jeff Fonseca says Austin has completely changed since I was there. The drag had a few hanging around, but that was it. Yeah, there were guys that I would walk by in the morning on the drag and go, what's up, hippie? Because there was a guy that we called Old Hippie. And he'd been there since the 70s, and he just never left, took that one acid trip and never came back. And he wandered around the streets of Austin, but he was harmless. He was like Pepper without anger. That's what he was like. We called him Hippie. And he was a nice guy, and every now and then you give him a buck, and he'd buy him a glass of tea.
Now you don't drop some change, or even dropping change in somebody's cup, it might get you beat up. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a crazy town, and I don't understand why
you're not giving your fair share to these folks.
Texans take it. I think it's because there's very few Texans left in Austin, Texas. That's a challenge. I don't know how we fix that, but I can tell you that when you start comparing and contrasting the University of Texas and Texas A&M, and I think you might say the same thing about Washington and Washington State, you are operating academically, athletically, alumni enthusiasm-wise and every other way at the penultimate heights of collegiate experience. I think both universities are as fine as they get anywhere in the country.
And you know what's really interesting? These types of conversations do not exist anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
The love for your school, and Chris Conrad knows this, there might be a little bit of this between the University of Calgary and the University of Alberta, Dinos and the Golden Bears. But there is not the level of love and emotion for your alma mater in any other country as there is.
No, if you're in England,
a lot of that is driven from athletics.
If you're in England, they just say, "Oh well, I just when I got out, then I just went to university. It's like you would say, I went to school, went to college. I went to college. That's what they say. I went to university, and then I got out and got a job." Matt Boucher says, "Shouldn't you find that expectation of mentorship when you're paying over $100,000 for an education?" I think you should. My observation has been that Texas doesn't do near as good a job of it as the Aggies. So Trey Molina asked a question, just says, Carter, so how do you think they should go about cleaning up Austin?
Don't know that we have enough time to get into that today, Funky.
It would probably involve tear gas and riot guns, but I don't know how you would do it, a bulldozer and a big net.
Well, I'll tell you what it doesn't involve. It doesn't involve giving free needles
Right.
and
They
turning a
invite-
blind eye to petty crimes and squalor on the streets of Austin.
Austin, Texas invites those people. Peter McNally says diversity rules from his hideaway in Beaumont amongst all the oil field workers and Republicans. I don't, Pete, we love you, but I don't, diversity rules, but I'll also tell you that diversity ruins. If you don't have a bunch of people in a country.
When you start putting people into boxes, you're not bringing people together. You're separating people.
Right. And when you start giving special privileges to people who aren't part of the historical societal norm because, well, they've been disenfranchised or they've been treated poorly. So we have to give them special privileges. All you do is cripple them. All you do is cripple those people for generations. You've got to tell people you need to get in there, get your hand on the rope and start pulling. So,
but I don't know how you clean up Austin.
I don't, it was always a liberal city. And when I was there, the University of Texas was kind of the more conservative side of Austin.
But you know what's interesting? You can start with taking a tough stance against crime. Rudy Giuliani and his efforts in New York City absolutely cleaned up that city.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to go there anymore. They're trying to get out of there because of what's gone on.
Rudy
under
was the
Mayor
only
de Blasio.
criminal. He was the only criminal in New York at the time. Rudy
Hasn't been proven
Giuliani.
yet.
Trey, I don't know. It's so easy. In the big picture, it's very easy for me to say we're not going to take it. You're not going to loiter around on the Capitol grounds. You're not going to. There will be no more tent cities. You can go west 30 miles and camp out there on the Llano Estacado. You go hang out there. We don't want you here. You're not going to be here. But on the individual basis, if I walked among the people, I have a feeling that the empathy would kick in, and I would. Feeling sorry isn't the right comment. I think I would try to find a way to
help
ease their pain. Yeah, but you have a huge mental health and addiction population in our state, and you can't change the whole state over that.
And it's been exacerbated by COVID.
No doubt about it. So that's a conversation for another day. Very disappointed you people didn't call.
They didn't need to.
Well, I don't know.
We kept them engaged on Facebook.
What did Christina Wise say?
She said yesterday leaving work by the light at Walgreens, guy just takes his thing out and pees facing the traffic.
Of course, she's a nurse. She gave it a quick swat and an inspection and told him to put that rascal back in his pants and went on in.
If you tased that thing, he wouldn't pull it out again like that.
I mean, who does that, and what do you do?
Either somebody who just doesn't give a crap. My 3-year-old grandson.
Was that Joe Biden? It could have been Joe Biden.
Might have been Graydon. Or somebody with mental health issues. Let's be honest. It's one or the other. Somebody who really just doesn't care, or somebody with mental health and addiction issues. Justin Glass sums it up well. Y'all have a great weekend. Y'all too.
Folks, y'all too.
Enjoy the week.
Hey, we love you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye, folks.
Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming and KHMC Magic 95.